think of a child. With good reason. At least some of the symptoms of ADHD have to emerge before the age of 12 to receive that diagnosis. But ADHD can affect adults too, and if left untreated, it can lead to poor performance in school, struggles at work, and turmoil in relationships. I talked to a newly diagnosed Metro Detroit mom who says it's never too late to find out if you have ADHD and get treatment.
I'm finding ways to be there for my children versus my brain thinking about all of the next things to do.
Oakland County mother of two and elementary school teacher Jessica Stewart has ADHD. She was diagnosed just this summer.
I'm 35 years old, and it was something that has been completely life-changing.
How did having ADHD impact your life before you got treatment?
It made things hard. I struggled with school, I struggled with relationships.
And Jessica is not alone.
ADHD is incredibly stressful.
Dr. Julie Brokaszewski with Monarch Behavioral Health in Bloomfield Hills says roughly 4% of all adults have ADHD, but symptoms look different than the childhood version. While hyperactive kids may seem to bounce off the walls.
As an adult hyperactivity, it might look more like restlessness, really I can't sit through a show or a movie.
There are three types of ADHD: hyperactive, impulsive, inattentive, or a combination. Adults with hyperactivity or impulsiveness may have too much energy, move or talk too much, or have difficulty with self-control. Inattentive type, though, is more common in adults and is characterized by trouble focusing, organizing tasks, trouble following instructions, or completing projects at work. A study published in JAMA Open Network shows a 123% increase in ADHD in adults from 2007 to 2016. Research is being done exploring the possibility of adult onset. In many cases, though, the symptoms have been there all along, just overlooked.
If you have it when you're a child, you will have it in your 20s and 30s, transitioning to adulthood in 30s, 40s, 50s, your entire life.
ADHD symptoms are more often overlooked in girls and women because they're less likely to show hyperactivity.
Boys, they tend to show with hyperactivity, whereas girls and females, a lot of it is internal.
With her July diagnosis and new treatment, Jessica says she can be more present with her children. She can finish tasks and her brain is no longer racing. She says she only wished she had been diagnosed sooner.
But now Jessica is thriving thanks to receiving a proper diagnosis, which requires professional testing and ruling out other disorders. Many of the symptoms of ADHD can be present in other mental health challenges like depression, anxiety, PTSD, even overactive thyroid. Treatment often involves stimulant medications, but there are non-stimulant options too. And psychotherapy is also an important component in helping the newly diagnosed develop adaptive strategies and behavioral changes to minimize the symptoms and maximize function. But that diagnosis for Jessica, she says, has been life-changing.
I'm sure that would change your life, and it's so important to your everyday, just day-to-day things.
Without a doubt. She says she can be more present for her children. Her mind's not racing. She says it's offered benefits both at work and at home.
I love that for her, and hopefully other people can get the treatment they need too. So Keenan, thank you for that story.
You're quite welcome.
Good afternoon, this is Sam Bond for Sam's Sports Report. ADHD, what is ADHD? Men Adult ADHD is the book. We'll go over chapter 5, but here's first what ADHD is. Mental disorders affecting children. Symptoms. ADHD includes attention deficit, not being focused, hyperactivity, exercise, movement that is not in setting, and impulsivity. Haziest acts occur in the moment without thought. ADD is considered a chronic disability, debilitating, and is known for to be impactful in individuals in many aspects of their lives. Adult with ADHD may experience self-worth towards sensitivity, towards criticism, and increased self-criticism, possibly from higher levels of critical thought. ADHD presents assessments in adults are often focuses on children. An estimate of 8.4 children have ADHD. ADHD is often first identified in school age when it leads to disruption in the classroom. The problem is in problems of schoolwork. It is more commonly diagnosed among boys than girls. Symptoms present. However, this does not mean that boys are more likely to have ADHD. Boys tend to present hyperactivity and externalizing symptoms. When you have ADHD outbreak, do you feel misunderstood with ADHD? Definitely, if it's hard for a kid. Autism is having a hard time forming in relationships. ADHD typically has a hard time forming relationships outside the family. With autism, the kids don't have any social life, hardly at all. They are capable of close friendships, sometimes with ADHD, with difficulty keeping relationships. They have an impulse for poor emotion. They have shown they show their emotions, and you get what you get with how they act. If you're angry punching somebody or the wall, men following big swings, emotional, their response is to maybe extradition. They seek, like, thank goodness they got fired. Or they may celebrate out loud. Reading emotions is something they struggle with. When I was little, reading emotions was really hard. I would ask questions like, really, are you mad at me? But now it's gotten better. They make a joke at a funeral, interrupt a conversation, interrupt yelling in class. They also may dominate the conversation. Conflicts come up when they express their ideas, very stubborn behind their idea. It can be a brain image, some expressed or not. They may not match the situation. A man driving down the freeway, and then the person with ADHD may get out and yell at them if the driver makes a mistake. Emotions sometimes cannot be controlled, but what you imagine in your brain and express, or you are in control. The feeling of the situation may not. Each situation expresses your emotions in different ways. The person may practice with emotions and how they better handle them. That is a good way. Emotions are waves. Handle them as waves. You don't have to act on them, but the emotions will go away eventually. They continue to talk about cognitive behavioral therapy, which I thought I might explain that. It's a psychological treatment that has been demonstrated to be effective a range of problems, including depression and anxiety disorder, alcohol use problems, mental problems, eating disorders, and severe mental illness. Or studies struggle that CBT can be leading improvement and functioning quality of life. In many studies, CBT has been demonstrated to be effective, more effective than the other forms of psychologists. Therapy of psychiatrists, medication, they keep talking about how important this is for you to be taught. Avoiding mood swings and emotions will help emotions, and acting on the mood swings will also help with emotions. If you let it swing by the emotion, the order in emotion is to have a goal to reach and try to control yourself. When what's friends, you should sympathy, being mad or sad, and the more emotions, upset, meltdown, and overwhelmed, and so on, can happen in ADHD. The emotion is that you're sad. Understand that the emotion can help. Understanding the emotion can help if you don't act on the emotion. Your son is playing football. You and your experience is a few emotions. You're nervous, he may get hurt, but you're also happy that he's playing football. You can count up, you can trigger emotions if you stop and do opposite of what you want. Deep breathing, slow triggering, staying on form and triggering, or the stressor. Try to let the concentrating on the breathing help the emotion go away. That helps you relax and to go back to it. Don't push the situation you do like. Practice empathy. People who struggle with ADHD struggle with empathy. They may offer different opinions, ask them. For listening to your wife, family about a funeral, recognize the emotion just rather than speak. Listen. It doesn't help when you say sorry and that's it, because that means you really don't want to talk about it. But let them talk. With ADHD, and they interrupt conversations. Men with ADHD can have poor social skills. Practice empathy, the basic skills you need to listen. Even if you have a great idea, give others a chance to share. You might learn something. You can control your interruption. A conversation if one isn't listening and then the other person speaks. Don't let the conversation dance between two people. You might say your son is sad the way he's looking up and not doing anything and just looking at the sky. He may be sad and you may have read those emotions by him not making friends. Learn to make friends. Learn to love yourself. Give yourself confidence. A way to do that is grounding and 3 things a day that you did good. Listen to others. It is important to realize that they need to improve their social skills, but it does not mean they have a low IQ. By taking interest in other people, it may help. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam's Sports Report and Sam's Learning Disability Day.